Stephanie Rutter leaves court after clearing her name. One shamed cop covers his face as he makes his exit. Hairdresser Stephanie had been accused of assaulting 3 police officers, but the case against the mum of one was dramatically dropped after CCTV taken from her police cell showed she was actually the victim of a shocking piece of apparent police brutality. Stephanie was locked up after an argument with her then boyfriend. She was thrown in a police cell where officers dragged her to the floor and stripped her naked.
You can get me out of my arms now.
After asking to call her mum, 4 police officers storm into her cell. A female officer is seen with her knee on the side of Stephanie's head, while a male custody officer can be seen using the cell wall to steady himself as he stands on Stephanie's leg as she's placed in restraints usually reserved for offenders who threaten to self-harm. Terrified Stephanie screams out in pain. She is then left lying on the cell floor. Stephanie, who is left covered in cuts and bruises, broke down in court as the footage was played.
Darren Grice, in a Liverpool park last August, sat on the floor surrounded by police officers. He is injured and being tended to. What happens next is now part of an internal police investigation. During the struggle, it appears one of the officers repeatedly punches the man to his upper body. The CCTV footage was captured on cameras operated by the City Council's watch scheme and published by the Liverpool Echo newspaper. During the 4-minute-long recording, which is now on YouTube, it appears Mr. Grice was also punched in the legs. He says he staggered into the park after being stabbed at a friend's house nearby. Merseyside police say the images can never show the whole story and added its professional standards unit is investigating. Mr. Grice was held for 11 hours after the alleged incident. Charges brought against him of assaulting the police officers have now been dropped. He says he won't make a formal complaint because he has no confidence in the force.
Meet Brian Sterner, who broke his neck almost 14 years ago and is a quadriplegic. But watch what happens when Sterner, who can drive and was arrested on a traffic violation, gets to the Orient Road jail.
And this deputy, Marcia, she looked at me and she didn't believe that I was a quadriplegic, I guess. And she walked behind me with those handles on the back of that hospital-grade wheelchair and just dumped it straight forward.
Sterner says he tried to roll as he was going down, but hit so hard he thought he had broken 2 ribs. Then when he was on the floor, deputies frisked him and tried to get him back into the chair.
I told him how to pick me up and put me back in the chair, but without sensation. I don't feel anything from my chest down, so I didn't know they were broken then, my ribs.
The Hillsborough Sheriff's Office didn't know anything about the incident until we showed them their tape. And now an investigation is underway.
This has all come to light today, therefore this review very active.
And while we asked for a written report of the incident, the major in charge here at the Orient Road Jail told us there isn't one. Because as far as they're concerned, they didn't have a problem with, nor cause a problem to, any inmate in a wheelchair. But don't tell that to Brian Sterner.
It's incredibly degrading. It's an example of how poorly trained the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is. If they're trying to figure out if somebody's in a wheelchair or not, there are many other ways you can do it besides dumping somebody on their face.
But it's something Sterner had to face, and now the Sheriff's Office will have to face the fact that a deputy at the jail thought it was appropriate to dump someone out of a wheelchair onto the ground, and another deputy appears to think it's funny.
Officer Wiley Willis was required to read her rights, but Garbarino was insistent on making a phone call.
You have got to let me call somebody. No, I'm calling you. You can't not let me call somebody. Are you serious? Oh my God, you know.
At this point, the officer did not take her to jail, and things got worse.
I have a right to call somebody right now and know that. Is this on the record? It's good. No, don't you touch me again. Don't you touch me again.
Garbarino later got up to leave.
Get away from me! Get away from me! Get away from me! Ow!
Seconds later,
You understand? Yeah, I understand.
the officer stops the tape. It's not known what happened while the tape was off, but when it comes back on, Garbarino is lying on the floor in a pool of blood.
Lie down. Lie down. Don't move.
Another officer comes in to look at Garbarino, then walks out. Garbarino's lawyer says she suffered a broken nose, a severe cut on the forehead, 2 broken teeth, and bruises on her arms and shoulder. Attorney Ron Machota says Garbarino was not driving drunk that night. As to what happened at the police station, he says, quote, the whole situation could have been avoided if the officer had followed procedure.
job question.
Tased him.
Yeah.
You actually have tased him.
Yeah.
Get your taser on.